Greetings, all. Vixen here. I'm going to show you how I made my crow's mask. This was originally from a young lady on YouTube. You're going to need a plastic bag or parchment paper, but not the waxy parchment paper. You need the like butcher paper style that doesn't have the sheen in it, because it won't stick on your face. It won't stick to your tape very well. So I have made it with parchment paper. You do not want the plastic when you put it on your face. You do not want it to go over your mouth, face, okay? Unless you make holes to breathe out of it. Warning, warning, warning. Okay, so you cut out a section. I know for a fact that this is too long for my face, for how I want my mask to be. So I'm going to put it up here, and I'll measure it. I'm going to cut it in half, because I'm only going to need half of it. If you ever wondered to know what you could do with your plastic bags, if you got like extras of them, you can actually melt them together. I've done that, and make thicker plastic sheets that you can make into stencils or whatnot. Okay, so then we're going to go, you're going to need scissors. I'm going to cut the bottom off a little bit because I don't need that deep of a bottom. You can use, also I think, you could probably use, you know, like kitty cat bags, like for the food, that kind of almost paper-like style. It has to be a thick paper, that's all, whatever's the thinnest. I haven't found that the and it has to have give to it, so like this, see, because I can foam it around. Now I'm going to make it shorter. The idea would be to get it as short as possible if you could, exactly to your face, but it's not a necessary. Alright, then you need masking tape or painter's tape. I use the painter's tape. You can use, it's cheap. You can use masking tape, it don't matter. So and you're gonna do this. You see I can breathe. Alright. Now you can also do this with a head, which I will show you in just a minute. The head though probably might not. Oh, you fucker. Yeah, I'm having a day today. It's either not sticking or sticking too much. Okay, so you're going to start this. You're going to cover the whole thing. I'll be right back. Alright, so you need to make sure that it's completely covered. Make sure you can breathe, though. When you're making your complete coverage, push it down, okay, like that. I feel like there's some, I can see there's some spots that are still, I can see the plastic light through, so. You want to push it down so it's kind of molding to your face. Alright? Do not, if you cover your nose, okay, as an adult, make sure you can breathe out of your mouth, okay? I got hair in the way here. I think I've got some over here. Alright. So for me, it's pretty covered on here. Right? Then You gotta find your pen, which I know I have one. 15 million different places in this area. Okay, hopefully it's a pen I can fit. Hopefully it's a pen that it's the right kind of pen. And you're gonna find your eye holes here, and you're gonna trace them out. Don't worry about it being perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're gonna fix it later. Okay? You're also going to want to think about where you want the edge of your mask to be. It's got a piece of, and like here on your nose where you want it to be. Like, so I'm going to do half here. It's probably going to go longer than that, but that's where I'm going to go. Then you can peel this off. Right? And there you have a rough estimate. I don't have a lot of stuff over here. I don't need that. It's not a requirement. I don't know what dropped back there. Oh, that's what dropped. But now you're going to take your scissors. Kind of make a round mask style here. Thinking I want to go, if you're making a crow's, you got to think about your beak. Doesn't need to be on the template though. The template can be used for whatever face mask you want, so you just need kind of a thing. I'm pretty sure that the side over here is a little short, but that again isn't an issue I have to worry about. And then I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make an estimate cut of my eyes. It doesn't matter if it wasn't perfect, as I said before. Okay. See? Now I'm looking through my mask. That's just it's just a template. So you do not have to worry if it's not exactly, if you're like, oh, I think the head is too high. Well, that's fine, because you'll fix it when you go back through. If you find that it's not manageable to cut because you don't have enough of the blue tape on it, put it back on and tape it up some more. So, there's my template. Now, I can tell, because I make masks, it's too short on this side, right? That's not, it needs more on this side. So when I put this on my foam, right, I'm going to want to put more on this side. And then this side's perfect. So, and I don't think, up here is a little high for me, so I'd probably cut it out right there for whatever mask I'm going to make. All right? Now, the other thing is you can do the same thing you just did. Buy yourself a head, and then you can tape it to the head in the exact same way I did, and do it this way. It works. It's just not foam. It's not fitted to your face, which is fine, because what's going to happen? It's not like your estimate of your nose and stuff. Your nose might be longer than that nose, or in the case of my nose, look. My nose comes out further in my face than the one on this. So you got to kind of remember that when you're pushing on that thing. But then you're going to take a piece of foam, okay, and you're going to push this down on the foam, and you're going to trace it out. You're not going to cut it when you first do it. You're going to trace it out, and then you're going to look at it, and you're going to decide. Now, see, when I put this on here, you're going to see. See, there's a major difference in the eyeballs and everything, because I cut this out, and then I fixed the eyeballs right here to fit my face a little better, because you can't get a really perfect. Now, if you had somebody else helping you, you probably can get a much a much more perfect eye socket on your mask template. I make, because my face changes as you get older, or sometimes you're more tired, so you've got more bags in your eyes or whatever, and or whatever. I just make new ones of these. They're so easy to make. And sometimes I use these after I've made them. I look at them and say, okay, well, now I can put, I can cut this part off and use it for another mask, and that could be a template too. I mean, either or. Just remember, like anything, every time you copy something from one thing to another, it changes a little bit. Okay? And then from here, we're going to get our foam out, and we're going to trace. We're going to use this to trace on our foam to get ready to make, and that's coming in up in just a minute. What I'm going to do is show you how to make, well, any mask, but this one particularly. So here's my crow mask. Here's my Shard Vixen mask, which did not work well, did not survive the move right here, so it's having some issues. But I'm going to show you how I made this crow's mask, and basically any mask. So the video that was before it shows you how to set up the mask part. And then you take the blue taped stuff that you ended up with after you framed on your face. Now, I do it because I like masks to fit better than universal, but you probably just make some universal ones. So if you go and buy this stuff here, which is basic craft foam. Now, I like this because it's so thin. So thin. And that makes it very lightweight. So when you start putting all of these like this, okay, this has a lot of layers of the little feathers that I made. So I need it to be light. And this is really light. Okay, same thing with the Shard Vixen mask, the Fox mask. Okay, so the Fox mask has the basic mask, the little blue one that was made, right? I don't know where it's at right now, but so I have the little blue mask, or we can show you like this mask here. So I have a basic foam mask that I cut out. Then I put a cone shape nose on it. I've made a couple, some are real long. The shorter the nose is, the better. Okay, you don't want it too long. If you've ever watched some of my videos, I hit my nose quite a bit. Then I have these layers here. So here's a layer. This is not a layer. I cut this out of the basic first foam. Okay, nor are these up here layer, but these three here are layers. This is a layer, and then of course the nose is a layer. Okay, so, and it's light as well. Once upon a time I made a Gek mask for No Man's Sky. I will try to reference that. But anyway, so these are my two prototypes that I made. I didn't like how the nose came out, the beak. I really wanted a more pronounced beak. Once you get to this step, what you're going to need is a heat source. Now, I have seen people use hair dryers and heating guns. There are some professional ones out there for the heavier foam for cosplay. I don't have that. They're very pricey. I checked them out. So don't do this at home without an adult if you're not an adult. What I do is I turn on my stove and I put so here's the burner, and I put my foam right above it, and then it gets warm on this side, of course. Then I would take it for my face and I put it on, and I form it. And once I formed it, after a couple times with the heat, it will take on, let me show you real quick. It'll take on the curvature that you see here. I have a curvature. It'll take on a curvature, and it takes on a nose area. Okay, I'm going to show you the back side of Shard Vixen. It is very dirty because I've had it for a very long time. So here's the nose area, and then because I pushed this directly onto my skin, but you have to be careful how hot you get it. And then it makes the foam for your nose and stuff, which is much better when you're wearing it because it fits better. Eyes are a little problematic, so you start out with your basic one, right? And you cut out your eyes. You can take a little bit of a small sandpaper and sand these out so they're a little smoother. So I have to apologize. The inability to talk has gotten worse the last couple months. I'm not sure why. Could just be a mental health issue. Could be the fibromyalgia issue. I don't know. So, alright, then, like I said, then you put it on your head here. I know the head's really close to the thing because I just have to do it. You put it on here. I tend to tape it on just so I get a good look. So you can see how this beak here was crooked, whereas this one is not. See, it goes right over the mouth and everything. I will take a picture of me wearing that at the end. Alright, so then once you've got that, once you've got the mask how you want it and everything, and you've got it formed to your face, the next step that you're going to do is, if you don't have a head, you're going to need something that you can rest this on while it's drying. And before I got my heads, they're very cheap. Heads are, I probably paid about $4 or $5 for the head. I guess that's not cheap, but it's cheaper than, it's about the same as a gallon of gas, so one or the other. But I have two. This is a child one, technically. That's what they call it. Walmart sells them sometimes. But you don't need it with a face on it if you don't have it. You can just make a round one, or you can, I used bottles, like big plastic bottles, and I set it on there through the eye holes. You could do something like this, I'm sure. It's a spray paint, and just set it there. You just need some place where it can dry without being touched. And it also depends on the glue you use. So, the glue that I used, and I've used different glue. So you can use just a basic white glue. And that works well. It tends to have a little harder time sticking to the foam, but it will work. You could use a heat gun, which is fine, but you have to remember this, that the heat and the foam, the heat on the foam causes it to move. So you'd have to keep readjusting it every time you made it. So that's why I didn't. So it came upon, because I make journals, as we all know. This was suggested as a really good tacky glue, as a really good glue for journals. I have found that it works really well on the foam. The thing is, though, it will move. It's very slick when you first put it on, and for feathers, it will move your feathers. So you have to be aware of that. Now, the way I made the feathers is I took a piece of foam. I'm just going to show you it now cut out. I took another piece of foam. Now, here's the thing. If you only have, let's say you have leftover foam, and you only have white or blue or whatever, don't worry, you can paint over it. It paints really, really well. I have made a couple. As you can tell, this one originally was white. So there's the white. And then I paint the gray on it, and then I added the different colors. And this one actually has been painted with another white because I wanted to put some more gray on it. So you can paint on the foam really easy. I just used a basic acrylic paint, no problem. So what I did with this is I made little like diamond style feathers. And that was so it wouldn't matter when I picked them out. Let me see if I've got one here still. I don't think I do. I think I used most of them. Because I use a lot of stuff. I'm going to use all these little pieces that are left. So you could use this. So here's one. And then I would put a little bowl, a little plate or bowl with my glue on it. And I would take the end that I know is going to be the end. And I would do this. And then I would stick it on here. Now, because feathers go from the center of the beak and the head and back. So I started on the ends here. So this is a layer that I put on. I put a layer all the way around with the pointy feathers facing out. Then I put it to set to dry. Then the next day, or whenever I decide, I come back in on the second one and I put a layer over it, just like you do dragon scales, you know, so it layers it. And you want there's a point right here, or above the beak if you want, where the layers go one way and then they switch and they go up. And so I didn't do as well here as I would have hoped. I think when I do it next time, I might have to make them flat, like this little one I showed you, a little flat piece, and go up. So my next bird one that I'm going to make is going to be a phoenix, but I don't know if I'm going to use this style. I like this style, but I want to try some different things, like maybe put a bigger feathers on and then paint them, which might be more problematic. Or I have a stamp. I have a feather stamp, and I wanted to see if I could use that on the foam and then use those to layer it. So I don't know. We're going to see. These two parts here, which is the nostrils on a bird, and if you've ever been close to a bird, they look like they're a little raised on them. They're not necessarily. It's just the way it looks. I made those with very tiny beads, seed beads I bought. I have lots of beads also. And then when you're all done, well, not before you're all done. So when you do your first layer here, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a slit. So you're going to cut a slit. It's not going to be very long. It depends on your stretchy stuff. I bought a ton of this, but I can't find it anymore, which is really weird. So I originally got this. I got a bunch of it from Walmart, and it came in all kinds of different colors, but I can't find it. When I packed, it got lost someplace. So I bought some black off of Amazon. If you don't like Amazon, you could probably buy it at a craft store. I couldn't find it at a craft store. The only this is elastic ribbon. The only thing I could find was elastic. And elastic can be really painful on your head for too long. So you're going to want, and you can see it on this side, you're going to make 2 slits. One here, one there, one there, one there. Don't ask me the measurements. I don't measure anything if I don't have to. A little story about that. My drafting, I went to take drafting classes because I wanted to learn how to use CAD, which is a software for drafting, because I wanted to have it in my pocket so I would be able to go and apply as a receptionist or something in a drafting company. Just because I had seen a lot of them at the time. So I took a class, and my poor teacher, he was so nice, but I would make straight lines, even with rulers, would be not straight. And he just never could figure it out. And he asked me one time, what is it? I said, no matter how many times I look at a straight line, I don't see it as being straight. Even when I know it's straight, I don't see it, and then I fix it, and then it's not straight. The same way in my paintings or everything like that. You'll notice there is curves, and crookedness is just chaotic for me. It's just, that's what it is. Anyway, so you don't want them too wide. So here's how wide that is. So you cut one, and you just cut 2 little things. They're this small. Same thing here. Same thing here. I'm sure you could find people that make these masks all the time on YouTube that will give you the exact measurements. And then you'll take one side first, and you will string it through and then sew it. Sewing is better than gluing. It's going to be stronger. Once you've done that, you're going to put it on your head, or on this head. Right. You're going to put it on the head, and it's going to have one side attached, but the other side's not. And you're going to pull it. It's better if you do it on your own head, since you're doing it. But if you're making the mask for somebody else, you're going to do it on that head. You're going to pull it around until it is stretched, how it would fit on your head. And then you're going to pull it through and clamp it somehow and sew it again. Now, once you've done that, the next mask I make, which is a Kraken mask, I will take you through step by step. But somebody wanted to know if I'd show them how I made it, so I'm going to do it really quick. So once you've done that, though, you're going to have these straps over here. One strap's going to fit really nice. The other strap's going to look like it's pulling your foam, and it is pulling your foam. So you want to take a piece of foam that covers this side. I did the same thing here. So we go in here. I'll show you on the back side because I did on the back side on this one. You can do it on the back or the front, whichever way you want. I did on the back side. This works too. But if you noticed, I had to I put this tape on and then I painted it over with glue. So you'll want to put that piece over to hold this when you pull it on, because you're going to stretch it and it'll pop and rip your foam. On this one, I did it on the outside just because I wanted to see where the strength was, like if it didn't matter. And I haven't noticed that it matters really which way you do it. I mean, there's the thing. So once you have that piece of square, you're going to glue it, you're going to let it dry, and then you're going to go back to doing your patterns, and you'll go over those two pieces right there. And you can feel them in there when you make them. All right. Because it takes me a little while to do stuff, I would do one section. So I would do this section first, then I did one section and I went around. Then before I finished the inner part of these, I did the eyes. And even though I knew I was going to overlay them, which is fine, because I just tried to squeeze them up underneath the eyes there. If you look at birds, their feathers kind of radiate out through their eyes, like your eyes wouldn't be there, and then there would be a thing there. Once you get it all done, and you do have to be careful, like some of these, they like to fall off. Once it's all done and it's dried, then I take Mod Podge, and I just paint over, over the whole thing. So it gives it a sealant. Literally, that's all it is. Now, I'm sure if I pulled really hard, these would come off. That's what I found. Most of them will, if you pull really hard. So just don't pull really hard on them. And then that's it. So the length of time to make it really depends on how long you let your glue dry. I would do a row and then put it up and let it dry till the next day. So it probably took me about 2 weeks to put the feathers on. It wouldn't take you that long, it wouldn't take you that long to attach all of these. And you just need to let it dry. And some like this one, which is a cone, I had to hold it. I didn't cut out. I left my nose part in there just to give it foam. I had to hold it and clamp it so it would dry longer. But this one was made with Elmer's glue in a water-based. So what I did is in a soup. It's called my Elmer's glue soup. And so I put the Elmer's glue in it's how I use for my decoupage. So you put Elmer's glue in a bowl, and then you add water till you get soup. And then you use brushes to put it on, or you dunk your whatever you're going to use to decoupage. You do that. So you could do that with foam, and that's how my deck mask was, is I did paper mache style newspaper to make a backside for my head, because I wanted it lighter and I wanted to be able to cut it. I don't think I like it that much, and might try it with the foam on another time to see what happens. But I did it for my son's Pokemon one too, and I found that the paper is a lot more brittle than the foam is, which makes sense. So anyway, the foam, I bought it. I'm in the U.S., so the foam that I used, I buy at Walmart. I think it's like, I want to say it's about $6, $7, but it's probably about $10. But you get quite a few of them, and you can use the foam for other things. I use them to make stamps and stuff like that. Anyway, so that's the raven mask, crow mask, whichever you want to call it. That's the end result, and it's done. And then you have a mask. And I am pretty sure that you could make a mask of anything with the foam, as long as you had, an idea and imagination. You could make your feathers more rounder rather than, and I'm probably going to make a dragon mask. I just haven't come up with the idea of how to make the snout so it doesn't look like a pig. It looks like a dragon. You could make a pig one. I've done that. But they're really cheap masks to make, and they do last quite a bit as long as you make sure you put a sealant on them. And then what I will do with these leftover pieces, don't throw them away. If you are a painter, or I am playing around with gel painting, I'm going to put those on my plates and use them as stencils. Could probably use them as stamps too. But that's it. I know that you see this over here. This is a spellcaster journal. I'm just giving you a tidbit about it. How this is made, and what you do with it is going to be in the Patreon for the Witching Hour, which, for those of you who may not know, is my daughter's business that we're trying to start. We did have a Kickstarter. It is still going on. It will finish August 1st. We're pretty sure, though, we didn't know enough people or weren't able to get it out there, so it'll probably fail, and then we'll be back 6 months down the road and we'll do it again. The Patreon, though, is just for merchandise and books, which will start like a little online store to get people interested, so you should check it out. And a TikTok, which at this point in time, there's not much on the TikTok, but eventually there will be videos on the TikTok. I just don't know yet what I'm going to be making on there. I am the creative consultant on there. Anyway, so I hope that was fun and useful, and I will catch you all on the flip side. I'm out of here. Peace.